subscribe. Darling Radio. Like and subscribe.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Tania. How are you?
I'm swelling you.
I'm good, Tania. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. I appreciate you for giving me a mic. Just to respond to the title in this space, are Black men responsible for the actions of tethers like Myron Gaines? I think it's very disingenuous to center Black men for the reasoning of such heinous acts of a melanated non-American, because I can bet my bottom dollar on it that that man's idea and his identification of Black was not solidified by foundational Black Americans. These are the type of people who get their Black identity solidified by melanated non-Americans and non-melanated people as a whole, right? So trying to fixate this on foundational Black Americans, specifically the men, knowing that when these people come in here anyway, I at least know the foundational Black men that I'm aware of, they would look at this man and wouldn't even call him Black. Being as though we know Black here in America means to identify it more so to the foundational Black Americans, talking about lineage and things of that sort, not just simply identifying somebody by a phenotype, you know? So it's like, these type of people, they always come over here and be on this stupid, you know. I'm kind of sick and tired of the first, second generations abusing their amendments because of the 1970s. This is not the same time anymore. It's just getting out of hand. And even to the little distasteful woman who was up here before, I wanted to point out the irony in her saying that Asian men are more so the top tier men, when these men over in their hemisphere of the world are literally going through a movement because they're so
No, you're breaking up, dear.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. You were breaking up a little bit. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm clear though now, right?
Yes, you are. We can hear you. Go ahead, dear.
Okay. I was just saying that it's very funny that anybody even wants to weaponize American men towards anybody else, when American men, I would have to say, are one of the most more like sane ones, honestly. If you go in any other hemisphere, whether you go to any country in Africa, you go any country in the European lands, Asia, all these men typically be unhinged. I would have to say the American men are more so the more common ones that you find that are more ideal. That's what I'm saying. You don't have our women over here talking about they're not going to marry our men, they're not going to have sex with our men, the whole nine like that. So I think it was just very disingenuous that a lot of people are trying to fixate foundational Black men to be the reason why idiot immigrations like Myron Gaines are even having platforms to talk in the first place. Even his co-host is somebody else who's a melanated non-American as well, right? So that's what I'm saying. His identity of Blackness is never going to be solidified by foundational Black Americans. So it's just sad to see that we have to have this turn on our people when we didn't care. We never cared.
Thank you so much, beloved. All right. Let's get Ellis. Let's get Brother Ellis in the building. Brother Ellis in the building. Brother Ellis, go ahead and tap in, brother. Okay. While we're waiting on Ellis, let's get T.S. Giselle in the building. What's up, T.S. Giselle? Hop in. Let's see what T.S. has to say. Hey, T.S., hop on. Unmute your microphone. All right, T.S. Giselle might be in there with one of the customers. Okay. All right, let me get you out. Y'all got 10 seconds. All right. Let's get, hold on. Let's get, what's your name? Tukad? Let's get Tukad in. Tukad, I think that's your name. Tukad, unmute your microphone. All right, let's get Spa. Y'all got to get it together. Spa, hop on. Spa? Okay, what's with y'all people raising your hand to get on and you're not saying anything? Or you're having some kind of technical difficulty with your microphones? All right, let's try it this way. Everybody who's ready, if your microphone is working, raise your hand. If your microphone is working and you're ready to talk, Hop on. Okay, Turkad. Hit it, Turkad.
Tariq, you're a dirty FBA.
Okay. Tommy, that's not what your mother says when she's piping her brother with that mouth, when she's getting that mouth dome down. All right. We had a musty, he sounded like an East Indian. Right. I think I heard some curry boiling in the back. Okay. Sir, that is not offensive whatsoever because you sound darker than me. That was not offensive, sir. You didn't eat with that one. All right. Yeah, I kind of heard your R's rolling. You dirty turtle. Hamya. I heard your R's rolling on that one, brother. All right. Let's see who else we got. Sound like some of Myron Gaines folks, probably. Let's get, yeah, these probably Myron Gaines folks. Um, let's get AO. Let's come on. These sound like Myron's folks. AO, hop on in here. AO, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Tariq? How you doing, man?
What's happening?
Not much, man. Not much. So I was on Myron's space and I was listening to what he was saying. So I got a question for you, Tariq. Because as FBAs, so the premise is that you guys were born and raised in the States. I mean, I understand that, but we're talking ancestry-wise. Like, how are you guys different from Africans when, if we were to trace your DNA, it would go back to Africa? That's what I'm confused about.
Well, your DNA would go to Africa,
Huh?
right?
Sorry?
Your DNA would go to Africa, right?
Okay, but you understand what I'm coming from when it comes to like Africa. I'm talking specific like a genetic group. Like for instance, if my group is related to like a Kenyan or an Ethiopian, I'm talking that. I'm not talking from like, yeah, originally we're all from Africa.
Right,
See?
right. So that's the same thing with us. Everybody's from Africa. That's redundant. But we had an ethnogenesis, just like you. You have an accent. You're from either Australia or England. Where are you from?
I'm from New Zealand.
New Zealand. Okay, I knew it was somewhere close. Okay, but yeah, of course. Now you're not a New Zealander. You're not a Maori. You're not from that tribe. You're,
No.
you're European. You're British guy. That's a British accent that you have. So you're really British, right?
No, I mean, I don't know if I follow that analogy. So my thing is that,
No, no, no. Listen,
okay,
no, 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 no,
all
no.
right, go ahead.
Follow.
Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. You're a white man. You're not from the Maori tribe. You're not an Aboriginal New Zealander, right?
Okay, so just a bit of history about the Aboriginals. I'm sure you've been seeing the trends. Firstly, the Maoris technically came after the original Aboriginals. The original Aboriginals
Okay, stop,
were the
stop,
Maori were slaughtered, right? So
stop,
just some context about the history.
stop, stop,
My question to you,
stop.
all right, go ahead.
What does that have to do with you?
But no, what it has to do with me is just coming back to the original question because you mentioned that we would all technically go back to Africa. I accept the premise, but that's not what I'm actually asking you. I'm asking you that would your DNA blood type be related, most likely on a scale of probability, if we were to do any DNA test now, to people like, for instance, in Africa, Central Africa.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Listen. My not
go
I
ahead.
DNA tests. My DNA tests. I got percentages all over Africa. Also, like
Yeah.
20% in Europe. I got a lot of European DNA. Am I European?
No, you're not European, but majority of that is from Africa, right?
Right. But why am I not European? And I have like a lot of significant European DNA,
Well, how much do you have?
about 20%.
Okay. If you have 20% Europeans in it, that's fair enough. I mean, a lot of people are mixed, like wherever you're from. But I'm just saying, like, if where's the other 80% from then?
Right. All over Africa, different parts of Africa. And here, parts of here too. It traces here.
Okay, so my question is, how do you think that's different from, let's say, like, because when you guys start mocking, Nigerians or those types of Africans, how are you different from them when your DNA is related to them as well? Like, you guys are similar, DNA wise at least.
No, we're not. We, we're different genetic makeup. We are a different ethnic group.
I mean,
If
I
I
understand. Yeah,
would, do you think I'm African?
absolutely. I think you're African,
Then how
100%.
come I go to an African country and get citizenship with no red tape?
No, that's because if you trace the historicity of African Americans, they came originally from Africa.
But then how, if I'm African, where can I go in Africa to be recognized and accepted as a citizen without any red tape, without having to give them $50,000 or something?
Well, that just depends on your genetic makeup.
No, it doesn't. I mean, no, what it doesn't. Where can we go anywhere over there and get accepted as citizens?
No, because if you look into your genetic makeup, and for instance, you're from, let's say, Britain, and you have 80, 70% British DNA, then you're it's your right to go ahead and ask for a citizenship. But in your case, for instance, depending on your genetic makeup, that's where you're most likely to go. So if most of your ancestry is traced towards like a certain part of Africa, then yeah, why wouldn't you be entitled to a citizenship?
But they don't. And my DNA is all over Africa. We don't get no citizenship over there because we're
Okay,
not
that
we're not African. Africa's
so
a Africa's a place. We're not
so
continental Africans. We have African DNA. You have African DNA.
So where does the term African American come from then? Is that
That,
a psyop?
that came from Jesse Jackson in 1988. Jesse Jackson and the DNC, they came up with that term. Black people before 1988, we were not calling ourselves African American. That term was given to us by Jesse Jackson on behalf of the Democrats. That's when they started to push African American. That made us comparable to immigrant groups. That was a big mistake. But we're
So you
not
think that African American is the incorrect term?
completely incorrect. That's why most of us, a lot of us don't even use it no more. Because that makes us comparable to immigrants. We're not African American. We can't go to Africa and get citizenship. Nobody in our family's been in Africa for centuries. We've had an ethnogenesis. You don't call Jamaicans Afro Jamaicans, they've had an ethnogenesis. You don't call Haitians Afro Haitians, they've had an ethnogenesis. We've had an ethnogenesis. You don't call yourself a British New Zealander, you're a New Zealander.
Yeah, I
But
understand. Yeah, I understand that. I understand you can.
listen,
Sorry,
listen,
go ahead.
I'm giving it to you. Because you had an ethnogenesis. The Maori people, they're not really New Zealanders. They don't like that term. That's a term that the white supremacists came up with, the British. You are a New Zealander. You had an ethnogenesis. You're not British, but you have British DNA, right?
Well, here's the thing. I understand assimilating to. Okay, so if that's the case, then
Mm,
would you say that anyone who's second, third generation, like let's say the Haitian, are they as much of an American as you are?
No, they're not foundational Black Americans.
So why are they not? If, for instance, they've been here for 2 to 3 generations, that's the standard, right? Because you're saying that.
No, the standard is the people who are indigenous to the United States, meaning the first people of the United States. That would be us. We literally built the United States from scratch. There was no United States until foundational Black Americans built it. We are the foundation of America.
So how do you explain the founding fathers?
The ones who came over and just kind of took over, yeah, they just came and kind of took over. But they're Americans. Those are Americans. Those are white Americans. Ben Franklin, that's a white American.
So the Jamaicans and the Haitians that live in New York, they're not Black Americans, even though they might have been here for 2 to 3 generations.
Foundational Black Americans. They're Black Americans, but not foundational Black Americans. We're different from them.
Can you tell a difference from a Black American to a foundational Black American?
A lot of times we can. A lot of times we can. But we're
Can
found
you actually? Because a lot of Haitians look like you guys.
we can tell. In many cases, we can tell. Sometimes some people try to emulate and look like us and um, emulate our look and our swag and our vocabulary and our style. Some people can kind of blend in, but that still doesn't make them a foundational Black American because our paperwork shows that we're foundational. We're foundational Black Americans. We're our own ethnic groups. Like sometimes if I go to Haiti, if I go to Jamaica, I might look like a damn Jamaican, but I'm not a Jamaican. See how that works? Just because
Yeah,
I
no,
go,
fair enough. Okay, I have my last question. I'll step down. What do you say about African Americans, or if you don't want to claim that term, foundational Black Americans who claim ancestry from Egypt?
well, the thing is, that's the thing. Everybody says we're African unless we start saying, okay, Egypt too. Oops, not Egypt though. See, that's the thing. Y'all want to put us in Africa, but when we say, okay, yeah, we have some remnants of Egyptian knowledge. Oh, not that we, no, it's something else. So why are we African except when it comes to Egypt? Why don't y'all say when everything about us is African, but when we say, okay, Egypt is in Africa and some of that is part of our DNA too, oops, oh no, that's crazy talk. So why is that so far fetched?
No, I can see the double standard in that.
Right.
I guess the argument is that like you can't have it both ways, right? Either you're completely indigenous to this country, or you have ancestry from Africa, which is Egypt. It's like you can't have both.
We do. No, no, no. You can have both. Yes, you can. You can absolutely have both. Just like Fijian, people in Fiji. I was just in Fiji not too long ago. Fijians, they are the Black people there with the big afros, that's their native land. When you talk to them, they'll tell you, and they volunteered this information to me, that their origin comes out of East Africa. They said centuries ago, they came over. There was a place over in East Africa that they lived, and they still retained some of the languages. And they left and floated over here, floated over to Fiji. So they acknowledge their deep, long African ancestry, but they had an ethnogenesis and they became their own ethnic group on the island of Fiji. So yeah, you can have it both ways. Just like you are a New Zealander, you are definitely a New Zealander, but yet you do have British DNA.
Okay, so here's the thing. I understand you can have both. I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive. Like you can be indigenous to your country, like which is America for you, and at the same time you can have ancestry that traces back to Africa. My issue is that like a lot of, not necessarily you guys, because it seems like you're being consistent with it, but a lot of other ones, they'll say, well, that's where the meme came from, like the we was kings and queens, right? That whole meme came from the whole, oh, we're from Egypt and like that. But it's like, what do you say to those people? Like, do they actually? Because as far as I'm aware, there's no results. There's nothing to prove they are from Egypt.
Well, the Egyptians were all their DNA goes all over Africa. Egypt wasn't somewhere cornered off that was inaccessible. You had the Nile River, which was a super highway with people going up and down Africa. So um Black DNA and African DNA flowed all over Africa. That includes Egypt. And when the Egyptians were leaving, and because of the wars, many of them went westward into western parts of Africa, southern parts of Africa. So they were exchanging ideas, language, DNA, bloodlines all over the continent of Africa. So it's not far fetched. It's not far fetched at all. Just like the Europeans, y'all claim all parts of Europe, especially parts y'all ain't really have nothing to do with. The Anglos up in England and Britain and Scotland, they had nothing to do with the Greeks and the Romans, but they'll claim it. They'll claim that when y'all had zero to do with any of that stuff. The Romans and the Greeks didn't even like the Anglos. They thought they were savages. But the white people all claim it. They claim all of it. So the same thing with us. We're going to claim all of Africa. We're going to claim all the good stuff, but we still had an ethnogenesis here. That
So is
makes
there,
sense?
that makes sense, but is it right to be like, because I understand you throw some comments against other Africans, like Mutupla or whatever, whatever it is. Is it fair to throw those comments when you guys have a lot of common?
Like, no, we clown certain people who try to talk trash about us here because of the current state in many of those places. We let them know that they're not at liberty to take shots, just like your homeboy Myron. And Myron is a good example. Myron, his whole platform is denigrating us over here, denigrating foundational Black Americans. And Myron comes from the damn Sudan, which is a bunch of filth, shanty towns, poverty, and degradation. So we have to remind him that he should humble himself, because if it weren't for us, he'd still be over there washing his hair in camel piss. So that's a very fair assessment, to let people know to be humble about your background before you start pointing fingers, right?
What did you find that was a big contention with Myron, like especially today? What was the big contention for you?
My thing is, and I discussed this when he was barking on old girl. That's typical Maid Myron. But I was like, I'm not putting the cape on for her, because she should have known better than to go up in there by herself. And she's a non-FBA herself. She's a Caribbean chick. So a lot of those women who go up there and get screamed on by Myron, a lot of them are non-FBAs. And I think they go up there thinking that they have some kind of immigrant camaraderie with Myron, and then he flips on them. So they should know better at this damn point. So, that's my thing.
So wait, are you saying that the people who went up on Myron's panel were non-FBA?
Yeah, well, the woman who went up there who got screamed on and he was cursing her out and calling her the N-word, yeah, she's not FBA. She's Caribbean.
Okay. Would you say that a lot of FBA women act like that or act differently?
Act like what?
Like how she was acting on Space?
Well, I saw him barking on her, and that was cowardly no matter what. And he does that all the time with black women. When black women go up there, he starts screaming on them, denigrating them, and doing all of this stuff. So yeah, he's real. That's a reflection of him.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Myron. I'm saying like when the women came up on the panel and they were talking like that, would you say the behavior that they portrayed is that like would you say that's akin to like a lot of how FBA women act?
What do you mean how FBA women act? How do FBA women act?
Well,
As
as in for instance how she was acting on the panel because I mean, I've watched Myron's Fresh and Fit shows. He's had plenty of Black American women come on board and like a lot of them, sorry to say, a lot of them do end up acting ratchet. They end up throwing in a lot of tantrums and stuff. That's just the facts.
be honest, I don't really watch his platform. I see a lot of the stuff where he ends up screaming on people, and he goes in there, from what I understand, he already has an anti-black disposition with them. So a lot of them are reacting to that, and that's kind of gaslighting. You can't say that they act ratchet when Myron is just as big of a sassy as any woman. He's screaming and yelling and cursing just like a. So what makes him different from them?
No, I'm not arguing on Myron's behalf. I'm just my point is that like is the behavior of I don't know if you managed to listen to the space, but how she was acting, we find that type of behavior is quite common, especially in a lot of like you could say Black American, African American, whatever coin term you want to coin across a lot of them. Would you say that's common or because I mean that's where they get the stereotypes, right?
Well, no, well, Myron is they're matching his energy, and as a white man, you can't sit up and talk about stereotypes. You guys come from a damn genocidal white supremacist culture of complete degeneracy. So yeah, just because there might be some black women who talk, sir, you come from a culture of genocide. Y'all go over there slaughtering people. You slaughtered the real indigenous people over there. You killed off the people over there in Tasmania. So yeah, pointing the finger, talking about stereotypical behavior as a person who's over there in New Zealand, you're not at liberty to talk about stereotypes, sir.
Okay, but how does that refute my point?
It refutes your point, because you're not at liberty to talk about how a non-white person speaks or reacts to any type of hostility when you come from a culture of complete violence and hostility yourself, sir.
Okay,
You're
but if I
you're
if
not authority to point the finger talking about a stereotype. That's where that comes in.
okay,
So
but
that
if I notice a pattern, like, am I not going to call out that pattern for what it is?
right, and just like we notice the pattern with suspected white supremacists like yourself. Should we say, hey, you're not at liberty to point fingers? It's kind of hypocritical. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so even if your point remains true, that still doesn't refute the point that a lot of Black American women end up acting like that. That's not where the stereotypes originate. In fact, a lot
Yeah,
of
but the thing is, yeah, I'll take a ratchet, loud black woman over a degenerate, genocidal white supremacist, sir.
I mean, are we talking like your taste in women, or what context are you talking about?
Yeah, just anybody except a genocidal white supremacist suspect in New Zealand.
Okay, well, here's the thing. That doesn't make
Anybody's better than a genocidal suspected white supremacist.
Okay,
Anybody.
fair enough. I mean, you can have that point. The point is that you'd rather be with someone that's loud, crass. I mean, it's
Ye-
that's the stereotypes that's usually confirmed on.
Right. And the stereotypes of the suspected white supremacists in New Zealand is that they're genocidal, rapey, degenerates, and murderers.
Okay, well,
So,
okay, you can come at my culture, but let's evaluate FBA culture.
mhm.
All your music is nothing but degeneracy. It's all
No, it's
nothing but degeneracy.
no,
It's all criminal. It's
it's
not.
not. Because you're not going to you're not going to crash out by trolling. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, no, slow down. You're not going to crash out. No, you're not.
Go ahead.
No, our music is not, sir. Unfortunately, you don't even have a musical culture to point to. That's how bad you are, sir. You have zero culture as a white supremacist. All your culture is just being a degenerate lowlife.
Okay, so
Oh
how does
yeah,
that?
you don't rap about it. You be about it. Yeah, at least the rappers, they'll rap about some things. But yeah, you be about it. So yeah, I take the rapper over a degenerate, genocidal white supremacist, sir.
Okay, name me one rapper that's not rapping about anything anything degenerate.
Name me one suspected white supremacist who goes to places like New Zealand and acts like they have some sense and a sense of dignity. Just name that. Name a non-genocidal white supremacist. Name somewhere where
Yeah, myself.
you and your oh please. No, you guys, the good people over
I
there are
mean, you still didn't refute my point, Tariq. Just being.
yeah, I did, sir, because I'm refuting it by showing the hypocrisy in you.
No, I
The
asked you a question.
No, no, the hypocrisy, you're not at liberty to, you're not asking a question, you're giving a statement that's hypocritical coming from a suspected white supremacist who's in New Zealand, and the Aboriginal people of New Zealand are fighting against you white supremacists now. They're fighting against you now, sir. All of your culture is degenerate. All of the music culture is not degenerate. That's a lie. You said
Okay,
all
give me
about,
one example.
listen, you said all of, hell, what, which genre? Hip hop or
Hip hop, hip hop, yes, hip hop. Please
Tribe Called
rap.
Quest? My Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest, most
That's 20, 30 years ago, bro. I'm talking
uh,
about today. I think we can both agree, Tariq, that old school hip hop was completely non-degenerate. Tribe Called Quest, Nas, Rakim, they all made hip hop that was actually to the people. There was a message behind it. Name me
mhm.
one artist nowadays that raps about something, especially in the mainstream, that's not degenerate.
Well,
Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, they're all degenerate and they're pushing degenerate things onto the youth. How's
well,
that
the,
a good thing?
well, the thing is, sir, your fellow white supremacists, they're the owners of the record label. They're the ones who push that out. But you have people rapping about all types of.
Do you know the real owners? Do
Oh
you know
no,
the real owners?
hear about the. I want to hear about the Jewish thing. I don't want to hear that. It's your fellow
Why?
white. It's your fellow white supremacists, sir.
Why? That's very true. They
Your fellow white supremacists, sir. It's your fellow white supremacists, sir. And you say the mainstream rappers, Kendrick Lamar is a very positive rapper. J. Cole, he's out now, very positive rapper. He's not a degenerate rapper.
Yeah, J. Cole is one. Is he FBA? It's J. Cole FBA.
FBA. Yes, sir, he is.
J. Cole is FBA.
Yes, he is. Also Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar. He's not a
He,
degenerate rapper.
there's a lot of okay. There's a lot of songs that
He,
Kendrick Lamar has
and
made that has been degenerate. But even if you put him aside, you're ignoring 99% of the
like what
artists
song?
that push degeneracy.
Kendrick Lamar has always been somewhat of a positive rapper, sir.
Yes, somewhat. But
Name
what
name a rapper from your culture who's not degenerate.
that's what kind of question is that?
Yeah, you talk about our culture. Name one from your
No,
culture.
no, because your culture is the one spreading the degeneracy.
No, sir. Your culture is the most degenerate culture in recorded history. No other culture is degenerate.
Okay, so
Ever seen?
that's why.
Sir, no other culture is more degenerate than white supremacist culture. Sir, you guys are degenerate to the point of genocide. You guys are genocidally degenerate, sir. Come on now.
Okay, so
I'll take a rapper over the raping, sir. You guys go around raping and genociding people. I'll take the rapper over the raping,
You
sir.
still haven't answered my question about
Yeah,
Megan, Cardi B.
Cardi B is not FBA, by the way, and Megan the Stallion is a beautiful black woman. I
She's a
love her.
beautiful black woman that pushes degeneracy.
Oh, she
Nice.
talks about how good her vagina is.
She twerks. She's half naked. She
Sir, you got the Hawk Tour girl running around here that you a talentless hack that
wait.
y'all.
So you think it's
Oh,
fine for Megan
no,
to
no,
get
no,
girls?
no, no. Don't tell me about some Megan. At least she can rap. Y'all got the Hawk Tour girl out here that you guys promote in y'all platform and you promote and spread around. Sir, come on now. Let's not go.
Let's be honest. Megan.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. What happened? Go ahead, sir.
I mean, I can't talk when you're muting me.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So you said Megan is a beautiful black. My question to you is it okay for her to teach kids to twerk their asses on TikTok under 15? That's literally what she's influencing.
Sir, the white supremacists, you guys put filth on TV for children all day, every day. Megan the Stallion is the last of the words. You guys put all types of degenerate nonsense on television,
Like,
pedo on television. You guys put degenerate stuff
like
on.
what?
You guys put sexual stuff on Disney and
Like what?
sexual stuff. Oh my goodness. They have all types of trans stuff that they're promoting with children shows that your community is promoting, sir. They're promoting all types of weird stuff for children, sir.
Does
That's
that
your
excuse Megan and Cardi making the song WAP?
yeah, it does. It does. They're
It
not
really
doing
does.
they're
Would you
not
be okay with your kids listening to Megan and Cardi B talking about?
oh yeah, yeah. They're talking about their coochies. And
You
they're
think
not
that's okay for a
they're
13-year-old to listen to that?
not promoting that to children directly like your community. Your community directly promotes that stuff. Your
You
community
think it's okay for
your,
kids to listen?
your community goes out here with the trans story hour and the drag queen story hour, stuff like that, to kids directly. They sit down with kids directly and promote that kind of stuff.
Tariq, I don't agree with any of that.
Well, that's your community, sir. That's your community.
Well, this is your community and you claim it.
No, no, that's your community, and
You support Megan
I
doing
do.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Megan is a beautiful sister. Yes, she is. I support that beautiful sister.
And
But you support, sir. You support degeneracy within your community, sir, because you're not doing anything to
funny how
stop
you support Megan when she put an innocent man in jail as well, free Tory.
it. Okay, now you're just babbling all over the place.
Yeah, she put an innocent man in jail, and on top of that, she
Sir, you white supremacists put innocent people in jail all the time. Stop it. Y'all are the kings and queens of putting innocent people in jail. Y'all put innocent people in jail all the time, sir. Y'all genocide innocent people. You wipe out innocent people from their homelands, just like y'all did in New Zealand, sir. So
all your
you don't want to go there, sir. You don't want to go there. You don't want to have a degeneracy contest because you're going to win that one, sir. All right.
how are we gonna win? You guys are literally the number one for single moms, single like that's literally
Oh
where the term comes from for you guys.
no. Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
let me get my brother Professor Allen
Most
in here.
most kids born out of wedlock literally come from black families. That's a fact.
Got it. Let's get Professor
All
Allen
right,
in
we can get the professor up.
there.
Yeah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so offended that he would dare say something about children when, according to our dear brother, Dick Gregory, his ancestors, probably his great great granddad, used to bury, when they stole New Zealand and Australia, they would bury children, male children, babies, infants in the sand up to their neck and make a bet on how far they could kick their damn head off their neck.
Mm.
He does not get to talk about children.
Hmm. Real
Very
talk.
very interesting. Does
You
that
are the
refute
patron.
my
You are the
claim?
patron saint
No,
of
it doesn't refute my
degeneracy,
claim about Megan spreading degeneracy. It doesn't refute my claim at all,
man.
does it?
Worry about your granddad who kicked
No,
heads
no,
off of
refute my
infants
claim.
on
Refute my claim
Meadowland.
first. Refute
Brother,
my claim first.
What claim?
My claim is very simple. You're coming in here blabbering all this bullshit, asking a question, is it okay
It's
for
not
Megan?
bullshit.
Is it okay for
Me
Megan to
wrong.
spread degeneracy to young
L-
teens?
let me ask you.
No, I asked
What's
you a
your lineage?
question.
What's I'm not worried about Megan Thee Stallion. She's rapping
No,
music
you
to
should
grown
be
folk.
worried
That's
because
grown
she's
people music.
influencing the youth to do disgusting things.
Sir, you're projecting.
How
You
am I
know who you
projecting?
are.
How am I
You know
projecting?
what is your lineage?
No,
You are the lineage
you're
of somebody who
projecting.
kicked the head off children.
I'm
You
asking you
stole
a
New Zealand.
question.
Who was in New Zealand
I'm
before you
asking you
got
a
there?
question. Is it okay for
How did
Megan
you
to
get New
spread her
Zealand?
degeneracy to the youth?
How did you get New Zealand? You got it through degeneracy, murder, and rape, and the murder of children, which
Okay,
your ancestors
and you
bet
guys
on.
are spreading degeneracy to the youth right now. How does it
You
help
and
any
what are
situation?
you spreading? Smallpox.
Yeah, what are you spreading? Degeneracy to 13, 15-year-olds to start twerking their asses on
You are
TikTok?
walking death,
For them
sir.
to
You're
start
walking
twerking their
death.
asses on TikTok? You think that's fine? You
I
think
will
it's
take
fine for your
twerking over. I
13-year-old
will take
daughter to
twerking
twerk her
over the
ass on
murder of
TikTok?
children and the spread of
No, I'm
smallpox.
talking about your situation. You think it's okay for 13-year-olds to
And
start
I'm
twerking
talking
their
about
asses
your
on TikTok?
situation.
You think it's
I'm
okay
talking
for
about your
you
situation.
think it's okay for
You,
Megan to tell
sir, I know
13-year-old
who you
kids?
are.
No,
I know who you are.
you think it's okay for Megan to tell
You,
13-year-old kids
brother,
about weird
you
ass
can talk
pussy?
about Megan all day. I
You
know
think
who
it's
you are.
okay for 13-year-olds to know about weird ass pussy?
You are the descendant of the
You
same
think that's
people that
okay?
came from the
No, I'm
Georgia
asking a question. Is
Corporation
that okay?
from Captain Oglethorpe.
I'm asking a question. Is that
I'm not going.
okay?
I'm not going to sit up here and
No,
argue
I'm
with the
asking a
ancestor
question.
of a
I'm
baby
asking a
killer.
question. Is it okay for 13-year-olds to know about weird ass pussy? Is that okay?
Is is it okay to kick the head off a
Is it
child?
okay for kids to know about weird ass pussy?
Is it okay to kick the head off
I
a
mean, you keep
child
answering
and
question and
steal
question. I'm
New
asking a
Zealand?
question. You're still not even answering my question.
You're disingenuous
I'm
and
not
you're the
disingenuous.
descendant of a murderer.
I'm asking you a
On that, I
question.
land.
I'm
I'm
asking
done
you a
with
simple
you.
question. Yeah, you're done with me because you couldn't answer a question. I have a simple question. No
Okay.
one's answering.
Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so yeah, now you're low key trolling. You're just saying the
I'm
same
not
thing.
trolling. I'm asking a serious question.
Not a serious question. That's not a serious question. You're just making up a narrative where you are kind of projecting. That's not a real serious question.
How's that projecting, please?
You're just projecting. You're projecting your degeneracy onto us. You keep talking about some 13. What 13-year-old? What are you talking about? What 13-year-olds are you talking about?
Have you
Nobody's
not seen on TikTok the amount of degeneracy being spread on the app by women like Megan Thee Stallion telling girls about weird ass pussy, then reciting their lyrics?
no, because they're not doing that. That's you're just lying.
I'm not lying. You can literally scroll on TikTok.
They're not on TikTok telling nobody about wet coochie. They're not. What you're doing is called lying. Yeah, that's why nobody's taking your question seriously because it's in bad faith. Megan the Stallion has not went to 13-year-old girls to tell her about wet coochie. You're lying.
That's a complete lie.
You're lying suspected white supremacists. That's what you guys do. You don't
WAP
really have
was a
real.
trending song.
Yeah, but Megan the Stallion is not going to 13-year-old girls telling them about wet coochie.
That's okay. Who's your audience then?
That's not 13-year-old girls. East
You don't think so? Are you being that disingenuous, Tariq?
Side to hop on.
You think 13, 15-year-olds are not listening to degenerate music like Megan Thee Stallions?
Megan the Stallion is not promoting that to them.
Absolutely she is. That's her target audience. What are you talking about?
That's a lie. But East Side, what's happening?
Okay, well, how is that a lie? The majority of her audience is female
Wait.
demographic from like
Hold on,
young
hold
teens
on.
all the way up to 28, 29.
Uh,
That's literally your audience.
Okay. Well, if we gonna play that game, let's talk about these white liberals that's promoting these degenerate cultures with sexuality with children. We just gonna do that.
I
They the
disavow
ones
that.
promoting. It doesn't matter if you disavow it. I mean, is it not true?
I disavow that, even if it's true, whether it's true or not.
No, 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 no,
At
no,
least I
no,
have
no,
the
no, no,
balls
no, no.
to disavow
Is
that.
it
You don't
true
have the
or not?
balls to disavow one of your own people spreading degeneracy.
We always do. What are you talking about?
Okay, so
See that?
are you gonna condemn Megan for spreading her WAP degeneracy disgusting music to young
We
kids who are
already
stringing up?
have. What are you talking about?
So you denounce it, is that correct?
Yes or no? Is it not true that white liberals are doing this degenerate behavior by discussing sexuality with children?
I already said independent of whether it is true or not,
No,
I
no,
disavow it.
no.
But is it okay
Doesn't
for
matter.
Megan to be
Listen.
promoting? Is
Wait,
it okay
wait,
for
wait, wait,
Megan?
wait. Hold on.
Is it okay for
Yes
Megan
or
to be
no?
promoting WAP
Is
to 13, 15-year-old
no?
kids? Is
You're
that
not
okay?
answering the question.
I already
Yes,
answered the
you're
question. I
not
said I
answering.
disavow it.
No, you're not. You saying
Or because I don't because now this white supremacist suspect, you're just talking in circles. You're not really
No,
saying
I'm
anything.
not talking in circles. I'm asking a simple question, and you're not even.
Said the same thing for like the last 10 minutes. You don't really have an argument. You got stuck. So you're just
How is it
talking
not an argument? I asked a question.
have an argument. You just keep trying to project onto Megan the Stallion for some reason. You've honed in on Megan the Stallion and you've made up a false bad faith argument about her promoting something to 13-year-olds. That's a complete projection, sir. You're projecting the filth from your culture. You keep projecting over and over again, sir. Why do you keep projecting like that? That's very interesting. Because that's what your culture does. Your culture promotes things directly to children. That's you projecting, sir.
Because she highlights Black American culture.
Projecting. You're projecting, sir.
She highlights Black American culture. That's why.
Sir, you're not even in Black America. You're in New Zealand. Why is that so important?
I know enough about Black America. I've lived in America before.
Why is that so important to you in New Zealand?
It's not. I'm just saying that if you're going to come here and criticize Myron, you
Sir,
best
no, no,
take
no.
some account.
You've been whining about Black culture for the last 20 minutes, and you're not even over here. It doesn't
Well,
even
none of my points have been refuted.
But it doesn't affect you. It's been debunked thoroughly, but you're just passionate about promoting a lie, and it doesn't even affect you. Why is that so important?
How is it
That's,
debunked? My question wasn't answered.
but yeah, you keep talking about Black culture, and you've made up a false narrative about Megan Thee Stallion.
How
And
did I make a false narrative?
how does it affect you?
It doesn't matter if it affects me. I'm making an observation.
It does matter. Why do you keep honing in
No,
narrative?
because it's a discussion. I'm making an observation. I can't
About
make an observation.
how does that affect you in New
It
Zealand?
doesn't matter. I'm making an
How,
observation.
it does matter. How does that affect you in New Zealand?
It doesn't matter. I'm making an observation. Like, why does that matter? We're having a discussion.
Does matter, sir.
Why?
It does matter because I think you're such a degenerate. You have to find a way to project your degeneracy onto other people.
No, Tariq, I don't think you're a degenerate personally, but I think the culture that's being promoted is degenerate.
Oh, that's just you projecting, sir. That's you projecting your degenerate white supremacist culture, sir. And so you're just talking in circles. And
How's
talking in circles means I've defeated you intellectually.
it?
So next caller, you're just talking in circles. Okay, let me get AK. Let's get AK. Yeah, I don't want to. Because then what happens is you got to understand, family, that's what we call a TWT. Let me explain what that was to the family. Family, that is what we call a TWT. That is called a time wasting troll. That's a white supremacist whose objective is to come in, talk in circles indefinitely, and to waste Black people's time. That is a pastime of suspected white supremacists. They like to talk in circles for the sole purpose of wasting your time. That's why I asked them, what difference does it make? It's just a conversation. There's no reason. Well, the reason is to waste time. Now, how does that affect you? You're not even over here. I just want to know. We're having a discussion. There's no reason. It's to waste time. It's a time wasting mechanism. They weaponize the art of wasting time. We talked about that in my book, Foundational Black American Race Baiter. I talk about that time wasting technique. I really want y'all to get my book and study it.
From New York Times best-selling author Tariq Nasheed comes Foundational Black American Race Baiter, the groundbreaking book shaking up the conversation on race in America. As one of the most influential voices for Black Americans today, Nasheed exposes the tactics used to manipulate, subjugate, and control Black communities. In this powerful read, Tariq Nasheed equips you with the knowledge to resist injustice and reclaim your narrative. Don't miss out on the book that's redefining the game. Foundational Black American Race Baiter, available now at officialfba.com. Get your copy today.